In the 1960s, Leica, which was renowned for its rangefinders, was forced to follow the trend and produce reflex cameras. After the modestly successful Leicaflex, Leica produced the R3 in 1976 and then the Leica R4 in 1980, both in collaboration with Minolta. Leica R4 cameras were manufactured in Portugal from 1980 to 1986. The R4 shared certain parts with the Minolta XT7, notably the chassis and shutter. However, unlike the R3, which had a simple, boxy appearance, you can't feel the influence of the collaboration with Minolta on the R4. The materials used were still of high quality, but this time combined with a more refined design and improved ergonomics. The R4 truly looks like a high-end camera, matching what one might expect from a Leica. In fact, the R4 already featured the aesthetic elements that would define Leica SLRs that followed up until the R7 in the 1990s. I've used the Leica R4 a lot, and it was one of the most pleasant cameras I have ever used. Indeed, the ergonomics of the camera are very good. The body alone weighs about average for this type of SLR. Leica lenses for these cameras, however, tend to be quite heavy, but the whole is a very stable and pleasant setup to use. The camera feels great in hand, and the controls are easily accessible. The viewfinder is also bright and contains aperture and speed information. Regarding functionality, the Leica R4 is quite good, but it is not perfect. I am thinking of the lack of a mirror lockup mode for macro photography and long exposures. Even if the mirror damping is effective, the absence of this feature remains regrettable for these practices. The R4 also does not support TTL flash. Otherwise, the camera is well equipped with features, and if you don't use flash or do macro photography, you won't miss anything. The R4 has a depth of field preview button. The fastest shutter speed is 1/1000th of a second. The flash sync speed is 1/100th of a second. If you like to use automatic modes, you will find everything you could dream of on the R4. There is an aperture priority mode, a speed priority mode, and a program mode that does everything for you. Otherwise, if like me, you only use manual mode, you can go for the R4S that does not have these automatic modes. A drawback of the sophistication of this 1980s camera is its electronics. First, the camera needs two SR44 batteries to work. Otherwise, you'll be limited to the backup speed of 1/100th of a second and bulb mode. More problematic, the electronics on the R4, especially on the earlier models, are prone to failure and are difficult to repair. But Leica gradually improved the camera's reliability, and the later versions of the R4 had simplified circuits and were more reliable. Regarding the quality of the images produced by the camera, as you would expect from Leica lenses, it is excellent. To conclude, we can say that the Leica R4 is an excellent camera if you plan to do landscape and portrait photography. The camera is well crafted and made from high-quality materials. The only downsides are the reliability of the electronics and perhaps a lower level of sturdiness compared to other cameras, but it is not set in stone that the R4 will fail. In fact, these cameras are reliable in general. My own unit, for example, is still working well after more than 40 years. Still, even if I've used my R4 often, my main camera is a modest Nikon FT2 which, while not as refined, inspires much more confidence in me. Indeed, the FT2 is purely mechanical and less sophisticated. A FT2 also costs from €80 to €100, which is half the price of a Leica R4. Otherwise, if you look into a compromise between sturdiness and a beautiful manual focus SLR, you can go for the Nikon FM or FE series. This channel is about more than just gear tests. It's a space to master the creative process and the timeless art of film photography. If you want to stop just taking snapshots and start making art, hit that subscribe button. And for a deeper dive, your next stop is electrocroissant.art. If you have a suggestion for a future video, do not hesitate to put it in the comments.